why it's so hard to get a diagnosis is because the technology and the number of blood tests just simply don't exist to be able to diagnose every autoimmune illness. Even if we had a technology for 6,000 tests for the thyroid alone, can we run 6,000 blood tests on each person that we suspect of having a thyroid disorder? And the answer is also no. How many of you out there are searching for a diagnosis still with your autoimmunity? How many of you wondering why it's so dang hard to get a diagnosis? And many of you are asking the question is, well, if I don't have a diagnosis, what next? Hey everybody, Maggie Yu, MD here, functional and holistic medicine physician and owner of Transform Autoimmune. And if you haven't joined our Facebook group yet, I'd love for you to check out our Facebook group called Transform Autoimmune Disease Naturally. Currently, at the time of this, we have 37,000 members. And in our Facebook group, we literally have truck full, hundreds and hundreds of videos and guides on how to deal with any autoimmune related issue and even hormonal issues as well. So if you haven't joined the group, make sure you join the Facebook group, Transform Autoimmune Disease Naturally. If you are watching this on YouTube right now, I'd love for you to give me a thumbs up and also click the button to subscribe. Any of you that are already in our Facebook group, or you've already watched some of my previous videos and have commented before, make sure you actually check your Facebook Messenger under message requests, because oftentimes our team would have already dropped you some resources or Easter eggs for you to actually already get started in turning around your autoimmunity. Today, we have a big topic, and this has been going on in the Facebook group. We posted a question about this, and there's been constantly people that are questioning, what is my diagnosis? What do I do if I can't find a diagnosis? Or what if I have tons of mystery symptoms and I don't know what to do with it because I haven't officially been diagnosed? Today, we're going to actually bust some myths around diagnoses and also educate you guys about diagnoses as well. How important is it? How frustrating it is? What to do about it? We're going to go all into that. So I have some top questions that people already have been asking in the Facebook group, and I am going to start with question number one. Question number one is, why is a dang diagnosis so hard when I'm struggling with what I already know possibly is an autoimmune disease, right? Let's say you don't have a diagnosis and you're in that warehouse feel of like going doctor to doctor, specialist to specialist, getting testing done. You got a shit ton of symptoms. And why is it so dang hard to come up with a diagnosis? How many of you are in that boat? And if you are, put in the comment section that you're in the boat of still searching for a diagnosis. So I'm going to answer the question right now, which is, why is it so difficult? I think that inherently there's a couple things here, which is that I want you guys to understand the scientific basis of autoimmune disease, which is that in autoimmune disease, what it is that your immune system in your body is normally supposed to recognize germs that are outside your body and say, you're a germ and I'm going to kill you if they come in to invade, right? Or it can do that even with cancer cells and says, you're a cancer cell, I'm going to kill you, right? The problem is in autoimmunity is your own immune system is starting to look at parts of your own body and says, you're a germ like yourself, and I'm going to kill you. And so it's mistaking a part of your own body as a germ, and it's starting to attack it like crazy. Now, here's an issue, everybody. So let's just use the thyroid as an example. Some of you have heard me say this, right? There's a couple blood tests to diagnose autoimmune disease of the thyroid. Just in the thyroid alone, do you know how many possible targets there could be for an autoimmune attack? How many different targets? Just a tiny little gland on your neck, that one gland alone has over 6,000 targets of autoimmune attack, 6,000 different targets of autoimmune attack. Do we have 6,000 blood tests to diagnose every autoimmune disease of the thyroid? And the answer is hell no. In fact, we only have three, just three. So if you only have 3 of those targets that have been identified, and we only have blood tests for those 3 targets, are there people walking around with autoimmune disease of one component of the thyroid or multiple that are in the other 5,997 other category that will never get diagnosed by a blood test? This is not a trick question. This is a really real dilemma, which is just in the thyroid alone, less than like 0.5% of autoimmune targets can be diagnosed with the blood tests. And that's just one example of thyroid. You know, what if you just have random joint pain? Is rheumatoid arthritis the only diagnosis there possibly could be? Is the test for rheumatoid arthritis? There's a couple tests for rheumatoid arthritis. Are those the only targets that could be attacked in a joint? And the answer is hell no. There's thousands of possible targets just in a joint symptom alone that could be a target of autoimmune attack, but are the number of blood tests that we have currently available to diagnose that problem is literally like 1 or 2%. So the problem is that there's technologies lacking to be widely commercially available to have every single target of autoimmune disease to be easily diagnosable with a blood test. So this is why I can already tell you alone right now how many people are walking around joint pain that are testing negative for all the tests for rheumatoid arthritis or psoriatic arthritis, some of the top hitters, and they're told you don't have a diagnosis, but you still have joint pain. And you already know that you have a ton of other symptoms and you already suspect that there's something autoimmune going on. And the truth of the matter is most of us with joint pain or most of us with any autoimmune disease currently there's no blood test to even diagnose it. Okay. So that is a problem. Okay, that's a big problem. And that's why a diagnosis can be really difficult because we really only have, in my estimation, probably like 3 to 4% of autoimmune diseases really do currently have a blood test. And there's probably 97% that we don't even have a blood test to be able to diagnose. So that doesn't mean that it's all in your head, right? And that also means that you will be going from specialist to specialist and getting test after test after test, and it will test negative. And that doesn't mean you don't have an autoimmune disease. So why it's so hard to get a diagnosis is because the technology and the number of blood tests just simply don't exist to be able to diagnose every autoimmune illness. And the other thing too is that do we even want to run 6,000 tests on thyroid alone to figure out if you have an autoimmune disease or not of the thyroid? And the answer is it's also practically not possible to, even if we had a technology for 6,000 tests for the thyroid alone, can we run 6,000 blood tests on each person that we suspect of having a thyroid disorder? And the answer is also no. So that's why there's going to be a problem with diagnosis because the technology just isn't there. And then the sheer number of possible target of attacks is so high that it makes it really impossible sometimes to diagnose specifically which one of the 6,000 targets of autoimmune disease of the thyroid or autoimmune disease of the joint do you have. It's sometimes really difficult to do that. Does this resonate with anybody? I mean, and is this like an aha moment for you? Is it a light bulb moment? If so, comment in the comment section below. So those of you that know somebody that could benefit from watching this video immediately right now, put their name in the comment section because sharing is caring. They may not want to hear it from you, but they may want to hear it from me or they may learn something from me. So if you can help them by putting their name in the comment section below, that would be awesome. Okay.